Hello students, I am Dr. Nidhi Mishra, Assistant Professor English, Govind Sarang Government Law College, Bhatapara. And topic of my lecture is Lesson 13, a short story called War. And this is part 1 of my lecture and it includes summary and question answers. Now, before we move to the story, first of all, let's know about the author. The author's name is Luigi Pirandello. He was born on 28 June 1867 and died on 10th December 1936. He was an Italian dramatist, novelist, poet, and short story writer whose greatest contributions were his plays. He was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature in the year 1934. Pirandello's works includes novels, hundreds of short stories and about 40 plays. Pirandello wrote more than 200 short stories. The story War was published in a 1919 collection and best known for its realism and psychological conflict of the characters portrayed. Now, coming to the introduction of the story. War was written in the year 1918 and published in 1919. It is a poignant story and takes a glimpse at the effect of war on those left behind, the ordinary people who make up the majority of the country's population. The story War is set in a train carriage in Italy during World War I. While the nation is at war with other nations, the people on train are at war with their own emotions and a terrible conflict is going within their inner self. Now looking at the summary of War. A husband and wife board a small train carriage at dawn in Italy, joining the 5 people who have already spent the night in it. The woman is large and in deep mourning. Some of the passengers help her in and make room for her. The husband enquires if she is all right, but she doesn't answer. He explains to the others that their only son is being sent to war in 3 days and they are going to see him off. A passenger says he has 2 sons and 3 nephews at the front, prompting the husband to stress that they are risking their only son. This sets off a passionate discussion about who is sacrificing the most. The husband says, a man who loses 1 son has another left to comfort him. But the passenger responds that such a man has an obligation to live for his other son and thus can't end his misery at his own hand. Another passenger, an old man, breaks in with a speech. He asserts that their children don't belong to them. They have interests of their own, including a love for their country, and they gladly fight for it. They don't want tears because if they die happy, and dying young and happy is all anyone could want, as it spares them of the boredom and disillusionment of life. Why he doesn't even mourn the death of his son? That man stops there and his lips tremble and his eyes are watery. The other passengers agree with him. The wife, inconsolable until now, finds strength in his words. She listens closely as the old man gives the details of how his son died heroically for king and country without any regrets. All the other passengers congratulate the man for his stoicism and bravery. The wife, as if waking from a dream, says to the man, "Then Is your son really dead? The old man looks at her, tries to answer, but can't. He seems to realize for the first time that his son is gone forever, and he weeps uncontrollably. Now, let us look at some questions and answers given in the exercise. Question 1. Where had the passengers coming from Rome to stop en route Sulmona? Answer 1. The passengers coming from Rome had to stop at the small station of Fabriano to en route Sulmona. Question 2. Which sentence says that the bulky woman and her thin, weakly husband lived in Sulmona before moving to Rome? Answer 2. The sentence that says that the bulky woman and her thin, weakly husband lived in Sulmona before moving to Rome is, he left their house in Sulmona and came to Rome, where their only son had to come for studies. Question 3. How many people spent their night in the stuffy and smoky second-class carriage? Answer 3. 5 people spent their nights in the stuffy and smoky second-class carriage. Question 4. Why was the bulky woman so full of grief? Answer 4. Bulky woman was full of grief because her only son was being sent at the front. Question 5. How many times the young man sent to the front on the first day has been wounded? Answer 5. The young man was sent to the front thrice. Question 6. Why did the fat, red-faced man with blood eyes say nonsense? Answer 6. The fat, red-faced man with bloodshot eyes said nonsense because he disagreed with the argument given by his fellow travelers about their children. Question 7. Who said, "Our sons are born well because they must be born"? Answer 7. The fat man said, "Our sons are born well because they must be born." Question 8. Why does not the bulky woman find any consolation in the arguments of her husbands and her friends? Answer 8. The bulky woman does not find any consolation in the argument of her husband and her friends because those arguments are hollow and unable to reduce her grief and sorrow about her son. Question 9. Which statement leads the fat, red-faced man to weep bitterly? Answer 9. When the bulky woman asks the fat man, "Then is your son dead?" the fat, red-faced man bursts into tears and weeps bitterly. Question 10. With what is parental love compared by the author and why? Answer 10. Parental love is compared with bread because unlike bread, it cannot be divided and it is equal to all the children. Now moving on to exercise 2, true and false. Now let us look at the first sentence. The bulky woman and her husband entered the second-class carriage at dawn. Answer is true. Second, after taking his seat, the husband thanked the passenger for helping his wife entering. False. Third, the husband felt that it was his duty to explain to his co-passengers why his wife was to be pitied. False. Fourth, the bulky woman all time growled like a wild animal. True. Fifth, the fat red-faced men said that it was their duty to honor the feelings of their sons when they are young. True. Sixth, the bulky woman asked the fat red-faced man if his son was really dead. True. Answer 6 is also true. And that concludes my lecture. This is part 1, and in upcoming lecture I will deal with vocabulary exercises, and in third lecture I will also deal with grammar exercises. Thank you.